Goldman salesperson described it as junk, not to the buyer, of course, but inside. The CDO imploded within 2 years. Your clients lost. Goldman profited. Now, there's such a fundamental conflict, it seems to me, when Goldman is selling securities, which particularly when its own people believe they are bad items, described in the way these emails show that they were described and how they were, but your own salespeople believed about them, to go out and sell these securities to people and then bet against those same securities, it seems to me, is a fundamental conflict of interest and raises a real ethical issue. And I'd like to ask you whether or not you believe that Goldman, in fact, treated those clients properly. And as you say, if clients believe we don't deserve their trust, you're not going to survive. Those are the ringing words you give us in your opening statement. How, given that kind of a history here, going heavily short in the market, which you did, you made a strategic decision to do that, but then on these specific examples, to be betting against the very securities which you're selling to your clients, and internally, your own people believe that these are crappy securities. How do you expect to deserve the trust of your clients, and is there not an inherent conflict here?
Well, Senator, there's a lot in your question, and I'm sure we're going to spend a lot of time on a lot different parts of it. Our clients' trust is not only important to us, it's essential to us. It is why we're as successful a firm as we are and have been for 140 years. We are one of the largest client franchises in market making in these kinds of activities we're talking about now, and our client base is a pretty critical client base for us, and they know our activities and they understand what market making is.
Do you think they know that you think something is a piece of crap when you sell it to them and then bet against it? Do you think they know that?
Again, I don't know who the they is, and again,
we went through it today.
No, I know, Senator, and there were individual emails that were picked out, and some people thought something, but I'll tell you.
I'm just asking you a question. Do you think if your people think something is a piece of crap and go out and sell that, and then your company bets against it, do you think that that deserves your trust?
Senator, I want to make one thing clear. When you say we sell something and then our customer bets against it.
No, you bet against it.
We bet against it. We are principals. The act of selling something is what gives us the opposite position of what the client has. If the client asks us for a bid and we buy it from them, the next minute we own it, they don't. If they ask to buy it from us, the next minute they own it and we don't. We could cover that risk, but the nature of the principal business and market making is that we are the other side of what our clients want to do.
When you sell something to a client, they think presumably you're rid of it. It's no longer in your inventory.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but they have at least a right to believe that you want that security to work for them. That's a belief which I would think most customers would have. But here's what in these example after example, it's not just that you sold something, which obviously meant someone was buying it. There's a seller and a buyer. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about betting against the very thing that you're selling, betting against it, going short against it, without disclosing that to that client. Do you think people would buy securities from you if you said, you know, we want you to know this, we're going to sell you this, but we're going to take going out and buying insurance against this security succeeding. We're taking a short position. We're getting this thing out of our inventory. We're betting against this very thing we're selling to you. That's a totally different thing from selling a security and no longer having an interest in it. My question is there not a conflict when you sell something to somebody and then are determined to bet against that same security and you don't disclose that to the person you're selling it? Do you see a problem?
in the context of market making, that is not a conflict. What clients are buying or customers are buying is they're buying an exposure. The thing that we are selling to them is supposed to give them the risk they want. They are not coming to us to represent what our views are. They probably, the institutional clients we have, wouldn't care what our views are. They shouldn't care. We do other things at the firm. We're advisors. We manage their money. There are parts of the business where we are fiduciaries.
Yeah, and that's the part that's very confusing to folks, because they
know.
think they think you're fiduciaries. Then-
Not in the market-making context.
Yeah, but they are not told that not only are you not a fiduciary, you are betting against the very security that you're selling to them. You don't disclose that. That's worse.
Senator,
That's worse than not being a fiduciary. That's
Senator,
being in a conflict of interest situation.
I don't think our clients care, or they should care.
That you
what
are
our
betting
businesses
against
are.
the security you're selling to them? They don't care?
You say betting against.
Yeah, you're betting. You're going short against the very security. You're holding a short position against the very security. I read you over and over and over again. You're selling securities, many of which are described as crap by your own sales force internally. Putting that aside just for a moment, we'll come back to that. That makes it worse. But there's an inherent conflict when you don't disclose to your client that this security that you're buying from us has obviously a short side, but we're the people who are keeping the short on this one. We're betting against this security succeeding. And you don't think that's relevant to a client?
I know that these are, we live in different contexts, and this is a professional, this is a
I'm just talking about a human context.
In a human context, the markets work on transparency with respect to what the item is. It doesn't carry representations just of what a position the seller has. Just think of buying from the